Hey, yeah, let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay, hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra. Work with me.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat already. Thank you guys so very much for being here. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button. Do it for the algorithm. Appreciate you guys for being here. Let me give you a huge shout out here to our sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube, of course, BetUS. Let's go ahead and knock that out. All right, if you're looking for a brand new sportsbook, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be up to $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. But ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about today. And we're actually going to be joined by our good buddy, Justin, from the Mythic AZ YouTube channel that also covers the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to be chopping it up about the Arizona Cardinals a little later on in the stream. By a little later on, I mean like in 2 or 3 minutes. But I want to make sure that I get all this news here first. Jonathan Ganon spoke with the media earlier this morning, and he said Darius Robinson is practicing today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a screenshot here of Arizona Sports. They ended up posting here some practice clips of D-Rob coming back. Hallelujah. Man is back. I know he's been going through a lot of different stuff. Hopefully, we see a debut here in Week 12. Let's get some fire emojis in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Darius Robinson. Love it. Love to see it. Obviously, we're going to have to wait till maybe Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday to get the official. But seeing that he's practicing and he's already been activated in the 53, good steps here in the right direction. All right, let's get started here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and bring up my good buddy here, Mythic. Let's get started and let's talk about this first, shall we? What's up? First things first. How are you doing, man? It has been a very, very long time since we did a collaboration, and I every 2 or 3 videos I see somebody say, "Hey, man, why don't you collab with Mythic anymore?" Well, here we go. How are you doing, man?
We're back, baby. Let's get it. I'm doing good. I can't complain, man. Cardinals are doing fantastic. So obviously, week by week, my mood is through the roof. They could ruin my life, basically. So, things are good. Things are good with you, I'm hoping. But, I can't complain, man. Things are going great. So, vibes are good.
Good time to be alive is the best way that I can describe it here, especially as an Arizona Cardinal football fan. Not used to being in this specific spot. But how was your thoughts on, obviously, Darius Robinson practicing and just the potential of him making his debut here versus Seattle?
I'm really hoping he's able to make the debut because our O-line or our D-line is super banged up. Our O-line technically is banged up too, but our D-line is where we need so much help. Dante Stills has been fantastic, but we need someone to complement him. We need actual pressure. If Darius Robinson's good to go, that is going to be fantastic. I know he's been going through a lot with the calf injury, his mother dying, rest in peace, but just a lot of things going wrong. And I think he's a big solution to what this Cardinals defense needs. So if he can get on the field, get those rookie reps out of the way, I think that is going to be very positive. And it's week 12. There's 6 games left in the season. So there's time for him to get this thing on track. And if we do make the playoffs, we need a level of comfortability here. So if he can come in here and give us those reps, it is going to be good. I think it is going to be a huge boost to the defense. And I'm hoping he is good to play because it seems like the past 3 weeks we've been sitting here like, hey, Darius Robinson might be a go. And it's like, hey, this might be the week. No, it's not the week. Hey, but this week, no. So
right.
Hopefully this is the week. I've been saying this for 4 weeks straight. Hopefully this is the one.
Yeah, every week I hype it up on Monday and Tuesday and end up off with just it's just the same things over and over again. And I'm like, ooh, I guess he's not showing up in practice. What's going on? Yeah, it's pretty rough. But let's be more positive. Let's see if he shows up here in week 12. Trending in the right direction. He is at least in practice on a Monday, which is great news. So we're going to dive into Seattle a little later on. We're not going to preview it, but just basically how you feel about how Seattle took down the 49ers. But first things first, I want to go and dive right into the state of the Arizona Cardinals here, right? How we got to this spot here, because as you all know, if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan that's watched from the beginning of the season to now, started off at 1-3, looked pretty bleak, man. And let me know how your thoughts are on Jonathan Gannon and how he's changed the culture of this Arizona Cardinals team / organization. What are your thoughts on JG and how great of a job he's done so far?
Starting the season 1-3, it seemed like the season was going to collapse, and we were 1 or 2 losses away. Game-winning field goals honestly saved the season, if we're being honest right now. Chad Ryland came in here after Matt Prater went down, kind of turned the season around. So, thank the Lord. But this team is playing competitive football. We're playing teams week in and week out that are genuinely good teams. Like Miami, they didn't have Tua. I think Miami is a way better team than their record shows for it. That is an impressive win in itself. The Chargers are 7-3 right now. That was a very impressive win by the Cardinals to win on a game-winning field goal. That is huge. And we have another team coming up in the Seattle Seahawks, which we need to get this dub because this would be monumental for us. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Jonathan Gannon is shifting this culture because it seems like if we're 1-3 in the Cliff Kingsbury era, that everything is going to go downhill from there. Team camaraderie is not going to be there. Buda Baker, I mean, we've seen it in years past with Cliff Kingsbury. He is not happy to lose games.
Right.
We know that. This team has been known to fall off in the second half, and the Commanders might be following suit. Things might be going down the same path over there in Washington. But the Arizona Cardinals kind of flipped what we're used to seeing over the past 3 to 4 years, where we either start the season really good and then take a collapse. We started the season terrible and found a way to fight through adversity, and now we're trending in the positive direction right now. People are like, hey, I've seen people on Twitter, on X now, calling for us to lose games. Can someone beat the Cardinals, please?
Crazy.
When have you seen that? It has been years. 2021 is the last good season we had, and outside of that, God forbid, 2016? It's very rare, and things are turning in a positive direction, and we still have a low payrolling defense. So to see us at a record of 6-4 is just Jonathan Gannon, Kyler Murray, this offense, Nick Rallis, this defense. Drew Petzing even, I called for his job in the beginning of the season, said he should be on the hot seat. I apologize. The culture we have right now, fantastic. I love it. It is what we needed, to be honest. This is what I wanted the Cardinals to be, and they have been everything and more.
Yeah, no, the culture that we definitely needed, and yeah, for sure, I agree with that. It's the don't give up mentality. We're starting off at 1-3. I think I've mentioned this before in a couple of podcasts. It would have been easy for the Cardinals to just lay down and say, hey, we're 1-3, we're not a good team, right? But just the resiliency of what this team and this culture and Jonathan Gannon and Kyler Murray, James Conner, Buda Baker, all the leaders in this locker room, right, looked at themselves and say, hey, it ain't over yet, right? You just keep fighting. And then once you believe in that, right, once you believe in the culture, once you believe in the guy wanting to play hard for you, whether it's Jonathan Gannon or these wide receiver weapons for Kyler Murray, or even Trey McBride wanted to play hard for Kyler Murray, it's a recipe for success, man. It really is. And I'm happy that we're here. Obviously, we're talking about November football. What's crazy? November football, December football, and I think I've heard you say this, when we did our last collab, maybe January football, right? So, hey, we'll see what happens. Obviously 7 games left in the second half of the Arizona Cardinals after the bye week. So super excited about what's going to happen here. Let's talk about Kyler Murray just a little bit here, right? You've been one of those guys that's been very, very on Kyler Murray. What are your thoughts on Kyler Murray from the beginning of the season till now and how good he's looked to me in the second half? But you let me know how you feel about Kyler.
So I'm glad that we kind of discussed this early on in the season because we had a thing where we were discussing, is Kyler the problem? I posted a video on my channel, had you hop on. That was a collab video we had. I was still Kyler Murray, hey, there's a couple balls he's missing high, a couple throws, routine plays that he needs to make. Within structure, he looks really good. There's just a couple misses, and if he can clean that up, we're in a really good spot. And I think a lot of that comes in with the footwork in a brand new offense. Under center, it is different. Kurt Warner, like you said, I believe when you hopped on, called him out a little bit. And not really called him out, but just kind of attention to detail, pointed it out. Hey, the Cardinals are this close to bang plays. They're this close away from picking up 20-plus yards on these routine plays. And Kyler's missing him by this much. He just needs to get the ball on target and give the receivers a chance to make a play. And they're right there. And we've seen Kyler since then kind of just develop even further. These routine plays that you have to make, balls on the money. And I think a huge reason why is these guys have huge catch radiuses. Marvin Harrison Jr., 6'4", massive catch radius. Like Kyler wants to get him the football. He knows how to do it. He's just a little off timing. You kind of saw that, but he was playing really well within structure for the first couple games, but it wasn't like elite level football. When we talk about elite level football, after the Commanders game, there's been one game where Kyler didn't play well, and that is the Packers. Outside of that, every game you can argue has been fantastic. Since then, he's had a perfect passer rating, literally a perfect passer rating. And then on top of that, he had a game where he threw, 2 incompletions, 22 for 24.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And had 17 straight completions, which actually breaks a franchise record. Like, Kyler Murray's just doing everything right now. And this is the potential that I've seen in Kyler. Like, genuinely it is. And playing in a new system coming off an ACL tear, some people don't really understand that. I think the growing pains come within internally. They kind of understand that Kyler has to develop that. Like, Drew Petzing, obviously, getting Kyler Murray as his quarterback, understands that he's probably played shotgun his whole life. This is a conversation that they've probably had. Like, hey, we got to clean up your footwork. We got to do this. We got to do this. You got to hit people in actual, like, fluid motion. You can't be hesitant with the football. And Kyler Murray's commanding this offense right now.
Yeah.
He's being very decisive, playing very well within the pocket. His pocket awareness, his willingness to take a hit. Like, there's not many things that you see in Kyler. Kyler is willing to step up in the pocket and get popped.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, God forbid, I don't know how he held on to the ball. Blindside shot coming off
popped.
the left side. Helmet flies off 8 yards. And Kyler, what does he do? Pops up, puts the helmet back on, smiles it. 2 plays later, he's throwing a touchdown. Like, you can just tell there's a chip on this man's shoulder right now where he's just trying to shut everybody up. And he's playing for himself, obviously. And just like the pride aspect, and he's playing for this team. But, like, this is a different Kyler. Like, Kyler's insane right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the Arizona Cardinals right now, and what Kyler Murray has looked and shown this team is, yes, you don't have to play Superman football, which thank God we don't have to be living in that world anymore, because it can get Kyler Murray injured, especially if he's trying to do too much. The thing is that with Kyler Murray, I don't think anybody's ever doubted the athletic ability or what he can be, because with the intangibles that he carries, right, being as fast as he is, having a really good arm talent, right, he can't be one of the top 10 quarterbacks consistently, right? Now, obviously, one of the biggest things is injuries, right? With this new offense that we've seen, with not new offense, but I guess year 2 of with Drew Petzing, it's just such a really good offense that you're not used to seeing Kyler Murray, and especially this is a brand new system, brand new footwork, brand new everything for Kyler. So now starting to see the consistency in these last 6 weeks, I would say, and the 6 weeks is also I'm throwing in the Packers game in there as well. Like, I know he didn't look great in that game, but the whole team didn't look good, right? So it's not all on
Kyler himself played pretty decent, though. If you genuinely look at the game, like, he didn't play terrible. I mean, I'm pretty sure he had like a 70% completion percent, like 215 yards and a touchdown. But like, it wasn't the worst, but like, it didn't translate to points, though. Like, it didn't translate to the offense actually going down the field and scoring points.
Exactly.
So you can argue the same thing where it wasn't a great game because the offense, the run game got shut down. Kyler Murray didn't elevate the team necessarily. Like, it was a bad game. Like, we got to call it how it is. That wasn't one of Kyler's best games. But
right, exactly. Yeah. So to me, in my opinion here, so you're looking at that game, 22 of 32, 214, 1 touchdown. That touchdown, I think, came in garbage time. So the way that
Michael Wilson, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, that wasn't garbage time. That was a touchdown before we got into the half, right? Is that what happened?
I think it might have been. And then we had like a chance to like actually like make a run, and then I remember Sean Murphy Bunting had like a holding call and it killed the drive, and I'm pretty sure they scored a touchdown coming out of the half or something.
When I look at, like, personally, right, and I know everybody's got different opinions on it, I don't look at passer, right? Stats to me can be very, very swayed to me in terms of, he didn't have a bad game. What deciding factor to me to make you, if you have a good game, obviously the stats do support it, but you also got to watch the game as well. If you're not making the right decision or you're not getting this offense to flow, to me, that's a bigger factor as to, you finished off with such a stay, right? And that's what I've seen from Kyler Murray in these last 6 games. And like I said, I included the Packers game because I like saying 6 games. I don't like saying 5 games. I like even numbers. But with what we've seen from Kyler Murray, not including that game, but with these other ones, he's played fantastic. The decision-making is completely off the charts and completely different. Now, I could easily say, he didn't have a good game against that one, 2 games back ago where we were leaning very, very heavy on the run. But that's not his fault, right? So people would look at the stats and say, he didn't do good. But that's the thing, too. He still played a good game. But it's about managing that specific type of game plan that you're trying to run the ball down the throats. They can't stop you doing it, but Kyler Murray's been looking pretty darn well, right? Consistently. That's what we're looking for as an Arizona Cardinal fan base. That's what we need to see. Kyler Murray week in and week out show up like that, in my personal opinion. So
Absolutely.
Kyler's looked good. Really good. This is what you needed to see. Now, the whole Drew Petzing thing, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was getting really pissed off with him too. I wasn't on the let's fire him, but of course, I made videos about reacting to his press conferences, and some of the things that he was saying, I was like, bro, come on, just give us a little bit more. Just give us a little bit more, like, thought process in terms of your answers. But I get it, right? I get why he says the things that he says. He wants to keep things in house. This organization or this regime is not based off of throwing people under the bus, and it's worked. It's absolutely worked. This is not BA. This is not the Bruce Arians days calling people knee deep, right? They don't do that. They want to keep things in house. They know that things can be fixed, and hallelujah, man, hallelujah, because Kyler Murray has looked MVP Kyler Murray in these last 5 games. Like, I kid you not. He's done fantastic. And I'm so freaking excited about it, man, because he's a big factor as to why we're 6-4, right? Now, the defense, we got to give some love to the defense too. But Kyler Murray, man, I'm loving what I'm seeing. I really, really am.
And what's crazy too is if we really talk about Kyler right here, like we get into like a deeper level in the breakdown, I'm pretty sure he's leading in terms of his career in completion percent right now, which fantastic. And then on top of that, 2 of his interceptions have come to defensive linemen. One to Nick Bosa against the 49ers, which is just a heck of a play. Like, you just got to
bat down,
chalk it to the game. Not Nick Bosa picked it off.
Oh, like that's right. Oh, yeah, it was a screen.
Yeah, Nick Bosa picked off a screen, and then the Chargers, it was a tip ball at the line, and a fat defensive lineman picked it off. And then his other interception, I believe, I can't confirm this, but I think it was Detroit, and that was probably his worst game of the season, I would say, because that second half was abysmal. We put up 3 points and had countless chances by the defense. That was Kyler's worst game of the season. And I'm pretty sure that's where the interception came from, if I'm not mistaken, when he threw the ball in double coverage to Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, it was on the left side. He threw the ball in double it was a terrible throw. Like, Kyler Murray, that was his worst game of the season by far. But 2 of his interceptions have come to defensive linemen. One of them was just a bad read. Outside of that, decisive with the football, putting it where he wants to. I believe a career high in completion percent. Like, Kyler's doing what he's got to do. I believe he has 15 touchdowns to 3 turnovers. You will take that from your quarterback, especially when you're super run dominant and everything is technically relying on James Conner right now. Like, that is the focal point of this offense.
Yeah,
Trey McBride. And then you have Marvin Harrison Jr. too, who is leading rookies in touchdowns. Like, things are just going right now. And if Marvin Harrison can get it going, oh boy. And it seems like the Cardinals have kind of found his favorite route to run.
Yeah, right.
A nice little crosser across the field. No one's keeping up with him. And God, his body control is ridiculous.
It's nasty.
It's ridiculous. Marvin Harrison is something else. And we're finally seeing it. Like, Drew Petzing's figuring it out. And I guess it took him some time, which is understandable. And I was very harsh because I never said necessarily fire him, but I put him on the top of the hot seat. And I was like, hey, this game, if it's another S-Fest, he's got to be on the hot seat.
He should be. Oh, absolutely. No, I don't think you should take your take back because it's the truth. Everybody was feeling the exact same thing.
At the time, we're 1-3, and our offense was abysmal. We couldn't get anything going right there. So, I mean, outside of the Bills game, it was just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was fuel to the fire. Maybe, right? Maybe they changed things up that they probably should have. So, yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I know there's some people that are kind of regretting saying fire Drew, but like, this is all situational. Every week is so different, right? You know, the 4-game sample size that we've seen, that was what we were frustrated with. And honestly, at the end of the day, he fixed it. So we're good with it. Now, let me say this here real quick. Smack the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys for being here, by the way. But let's talk about real quick the defense. I know we've given a lot of love to Kyler Murray. How good has this defense actually been? I know when you look at the stats, we kind of float around between, you know, somewhere in the low 20s to like maybe somewhere in the mid-teens, right? Somewhere, say in the top 10. Where are you with this Arizona Cardinals defense? If you were to put us somewhere between 1 through 32, where do you rank this defense in your own opinion? Not with stats, but how you feel about them.
If this keeps up, I mean, it's hard to say we're not like 15. Like, in the range of like 15 to 17. It's really hard to say that. Like, it really is, because you could even go higher. You could argue higher, but I'm going to base it off what we saw early season 2, and I really don't know still. But in the past 3 home games, no touchdowns. Has not been done since like 1920. That stat in itself is very telling of how the Arizona Cardinals have legitimately strapped up. Sean Murphy-Bunting needs to get benched for the rest of the season. Max Melton needs to start alongside Starling Thomas and Garrett Williams. But Garrett Williams, I can't speak highly enough of Garrett Williams. This is a guy that I was so high on coming out to because he was a first-round pick if he doesn't tear his ACL.
Yep.
He fell to us in like the 3rd round.
Yep.
And here we are with Monty Ossenfort just bringing gems into this team. Dante Stills is also flashing again. It seems like whenever he gets opportunity, the defense flashes. Garrett Williams has been fantastic. Our safety tandem has been fantastic. Budda Baker has 100 tackles. The only 3 people in the NFL who have 100 tackles are 2 linebackers and Budda Baker, who is a 3rd-level defensive player. That is unheard of. He is literally a safety linebacker hybrid. He makes plays before the play even happens. The ball's thrown on a bubble screen. Budda Baker's right there in the face. And then he's going to slide around. Yeah. Real talk. Like, they can't even put hands on him. Yeah. Dude is a torpedo. Like, people try to block him, and it's just like, cool, swim, move past it, wrap up in the backfield. And you can tell when people try to make a move, Budda's at the ankles. Like, dude is literally just like a pesky chihuahua. Like, real talk. Like, he's at the ankles, he's biting, and he's there. Like, Budda Baker, like, if he gets his hands on you, most of the time he's coming down.
Let's say bulldog.
Real talk, bulldog. Because it's just frustrating. Like, I've seen it like so many times this season where it's like Budda Baker and somebody else, and he just wraps them at the ankles. They come up and they're pissed because they can't do anything. You're trying to make a move, and it's like you got to do grabbing you by the legs, and you're not going nowhere. Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. But like this defense, Nick Rallis, shout out to you. I think he has been consistently the best coordinator these 2 years, and it's not even close because what he's done the past 2 seasons with the talent we have, which haven't been fantastic in a gutted roster, I can't praise him enough. Like, I genuinely can't. It is insane. And if we can get some talent, which I think we'll do next year and spend $100+ million, we're going to allocate this money. But like, I can't even imagine what happens when we get like a legit edge and some defensive line help. Oh my goodness. And what if Darius Robinson pans out and is everything that he's supposed to be?
Yeah.
We got a rookie contract guy who could be productive for us. Like, Nick Rallis, can't speak highly enough. This defense, I can't speak highly enough, especially these past like 5 weeks. We're actually locking up. In the beginning of the season, I was worried. It was everything that we were concerned about.
Same.
And here we are. Who would have thought? Like, genuinely.
Well, I mean, who would have thought we were going to be here, especially after the 1-3 start? I mean, obviously, I think as Cardinal fans, you know, we can sit to ourselves and say, you know, optimism, right? Because like we're doing now, right? We had the bye week. I'm pretty sure you had content as well, trying to predict the rest of the games or looking at the schedule. What does the NFC West look like? That type of thing. But like at that moment, I'm not gonna lie to you, like all the positivity is still there, dormant. 1-3, it's hard to get away from that. It's hard to get past that. And culturally, Jonathan Gannon, man, and everybody that's in this locker room, all the leaders in the locker room, we got to give kudos to where kudos is due because they have brought this organization that had every attempt or had every excuse in the book to not be 6-4 right now. And guess what? We had a bye week that we were sitting back, relaxing, stress-free football. 49ers absolutely blew it. The Seahawks are back to life. And then I don't know what the heck the Rams are going to look like moving forward. But the division right now, we'll talk about that a little later on because a lot to dive in with that. This defense has absolutely surprised me. And it's crazy because a lot of times have I said, we're not going to expect this defense to win us games. Man, I'm so dumb. Now looking at this at 6-4 is crazy because although we're not expecting it, it can happen. And I think that is also bringing another light to just complimentary football and what this team can become, right? It's crazy. It really is. Give me your one defensive MVP, not Budda Baker. One defensive
not
MVP,
Budda Baker,
not Budda
Garrett
Baker.
Williams. Garrett Williams.
Yeah.
It's not even close. It's really not even close. I think Budda Baker and Garrett Williams deserve to be Pro Bowlers this year. And I don't even think it's close. I think Garrett Williams is going under the radar, which is fine by me. Like, genuinely it is. But the production he has, we might have another elite number 21 on the defensive side of the ball. And I mean that like wholeheartedly. Like, this is a guy who is just absolutely ridiculous. His instincts, his playmaking ability, the way he plays the ball, it's just, I don't know. Like, there's just something about his game. Like, the eye test tells you that there's players week in and week out, and typically the PFF grades unfortunately pan out. Like, I know they don't really hold weight, but like every time you look at it and you're like, okay, this guy had a great game. Like, that's how I was with Mac Wilson at the beginning of the season. For the first 5 games, he was just balling out, and he did that. Like,
Yeah.
genuinely, he did. It was ridiculous. And here we are now with freaking Garrett Williams just locking up week in and week out. It's crazy. I think he is like the clear consensus behind Buda Baker because it's hard not to give it to him. Because Buda Baker, obviously, if we're talking about defensive MVP, that's the guy. Because that's a guy who might be an all-pro. But Garrett Williams is a Pro Bowl caliber player, and if he doesn't get in, he's getting snubbed because he's a Cardinal. So let's just call it how it is.
It's probably what's going to happen. It probably is.
Oh,
I do agree with you, though, with the whole Garrett Williams. That definitely was mine, and I think you're 100% right. It's not even close. I think we gotten some players on our defensive line that we can obviously give some like notable, when they get the opportunity. Your Dante Stills. It's just, to me, the defensive line right now is just so unknown, so inconsistent. Now, can they get back there? Can they wreak havoc? They can, right? Or, depending on the offensive line and the opposing team. But it's just one of those things where right now my most impressive big takeaways from this defensive side of the ball is how surprisingly excited I am about the future of this young cornerback core that we have. Sean Murphy-Bunting, you're out of this. I'm talking about Max Melton. I'm talking about Garrett Williams and then Starling Thomas V. So super, super excited about it. I really am.
I think that is definitely the bright spot of the team, which who would have thought from 2 years ago when we had Marco Wilson as our starting corner that I think Monty needs to get a lot of credit here. I really do. He came into a team that had Marco Wilson as their starting corner, and this can't be understated. It really can't. He went from finding a hidden gem in Starling Thomas, and I believe he was an undrafted free agent, right?
Starling? I believe he was, yeah. I believe he was.
Free agent. Monty brought him in. Now he's a starting cornerback, getting valuable reps and actually playing great football for us. Garrett Williams took in the third round after he dropped, has panned out, might be legitimately an elite level corner for us. And Max Melton, who knows? I mean, Max Melton out of Rutgers. You hear that all the time. Like, we'll see if he pans out. But when he gets opportunities, he's been okay. Against the Packers, pretty rough. I'm not going to lie. But you got to get those reps in because he's a rookie corner. That's the hardest position to play in the league.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Comfortability, and you're good. And then you have Dadrian Taylor-Demerson, too. When he's had some shine, has been pretty solid, too. Like, the secondary shaping out. Who knows? Jalen Thompson's playing solid. I wouldn't say his best football necessarily, but we know what Jalen Thompson's capable of.
Right.
Buda Baker's playing football at this level. It's crazy. And you got Mac Wilson, Kazir White, too. I love our linebackers. It's just we need help interior. But, maybe not. Who knows? Because they're balling out. So do we really need help? I don't know, but I would like to see it because I don't necessarily believe 100%. I think there's good football being played, but I'm not fully confident, if that makes sense. I'm not like, okay, this team can go shut people down. If we go play Baltimore right now and we're going up against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, I'm confident we're going to shut them down. You know what I mean? Like, they're balling out. I'm giving them their credit, but, I'm not confident if we're playing Super Bowl caliber teams. Right. If we go play Buffalo again, and we're able to shut them down. I think a 30-ball will be put on our head. That's just what it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. No, I think here's the thing too, and it might be because maybe the expectation was so low for the defense coming into the season. That might be a realism. The fact that we're already calling on potentially 15, right? Ranking in our own eyes, right? And you could throw stats in there if you want. That's fine. But what I'm saying is we can. Because I've been saying that, like as long as they're a mid-tier defense, our offense should be able to win a lot of games, right? Kyler Murray said the same thing, bet the over in the beginning of the season, right? And he doesn't put a cap in terms of what this team offensively can accomplish. So all we needed was a middle-of-the-line type of defense to do that. And honestly, I think they actually exceeded expectations for the talent that we have on here, the low-fundedness of this defense. They've exceeded expectations, absolutely. Young core in the defensive backs, and I'm also including the safeties as well with Dadrian, aka Rabbit. I'm excited, man. It's going to be very, very good for the future. Let's just focus on that D-line for this offseason. We are going to get Nichols back as well as Justin Jones. Even maybe they might not be a future for us, but it's still good to have that veteran presence, that depth presence for the Arizona Cardinals because we know that we are a rotating type of defense. Let's move on over to the Seattle Seahawks. I don't want to do a breakdown or anything like that, but I want to kind of get a glimpse of how you feel like the Seattle Seahawks are going to shake out, not in this game specifically, but for the season. Do you believe in the Seattle Seahawks? Do you think this is going to be a hard game? What say you, Justin?
I just posted my prediction for this on my channel. So if you guys want to check that out, you can. That's more in depth. But we're going to go ahead and touch on the surface. The Seahawks are so weird.
Yeah.
They average 4 yards a carry on the season, basically. which is not great in terms of the NFL. So their run game isn't fantastic. Geno Smith isn't putting the ball in the end zone. He has 11 interceptions and 11 touchdowns on some Jameis Winston timing. But then you flip it to his stats and you see the completion percentage. Like his completion percent is 69%, which is like top 5 in the league. And he's fourth in passing yards with 2,700, almost 28. Like he might not be converting touchdowns. Like I said, he's on some James Winston stuff. He might throw for 5K here, but they don't score touchdowns. This offense doesn't really strike fear in my heart. Neither does their defense. They're about middle of the pack as it stands. But I'm not really worried. I think the Cardinals can genuinely actually combat them with James Conner. Like they can't defend the run for anything.
Hey,
Their
Justin,
offensive line is also trash.
real quick, I think the mic. Can you unravel it? And because it's kind of cutting out a little bit. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Way better. Oh my god, way better. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't know. Seattle they don't really strike fear in my heart, especially offensively. They really don't do much. And I don't know what you guys heard, but Geno Smith, 11 touchdowns, 11 picks on some Jameis Winston timing. I'm not concerned. They can't defend the run. James Conner is bound to have a field day. Their offensive line is not fantastic. So obviously the Cardinals, they're going to struggle here. Or not the Cardinals, the Seahawks are going to struggle here if the Cardinals continue to play like how they are. And they just had a week off. They got some rest. I'm confident. I love the way this season's going, and I think the Cardinals can dominate Seattle, and I think James Conner bound to have a massive day. I predicted him 2 touchdowns, 18 carries, 80-plus yards, rushing.
Wow.
Hot take.
Hey, yeah, I'll take that too. I mean, yeah, when it comes down to this game, it is very interesting. I think everybody in the West under us, which is pretty much everybody at 5-5, it's a weird situation because like we don't know what these teams are, right? San Fran ended up blowing it. You got the Rams beating the Patriots, which good for them because they're 5-5. But like, is that really something to gloat about? But then also the Seahawks scratching their way back to 5-5 as opposed to allowing themselves to be at the bottom of the division. So just a weird way. I think this game is going to be very telling to me. Like, is this game, like, did the Seattle Seahawks beat the 49ers because the 49ers are frauds, right? Because I mentioned this, when we had our collab, like, I don't know. I see the 49ers and I don't see the 49ers, like, as a team that has that drive, that hunger anymore. Like they almost kind of expect to win. Like it's going to be given to them. No, that's not how it goes. This is the NFL week in and week out. You need to fight. It's so hard to get wins in the NFL. And a lot of these games are decided by one possession, 3 points, 1 point, a touchdown. So every drive is crucial. Every big explosive is going to be crucial. So I don't know. I see the 49ers and they kind of just sit on their hands. And I don't think this is the best the 49ers are, but like, I also don't think that this 49ers is the same 49ers as last year as well. Can they make the playoffs? There might be a Hail Mary of a chance, but their only option is probably through the West. And guess what? I think we might take the West, honestly. Oh, Mike. Nope.
Hello?
There you go.
Yo.
Yep.
I don't know what you guys can hear. I tried fixing it. But I don't know. Are you a believer in any of these NFC West teams? Like, is there anybody besides the Cardinals who you're like, hey, this team is going to give us a run for their money? Because, like, through 12 weeks so far, I don't really know where to place teams because the Rams were without Puka for a while. They got Puka back and Cooper Kupp. Their offenses look great. Puka and Cooper Kupp, the receivers they are. They're top 5 receivers in the NFC West when healthy, like both of them. So they have 2 of the top 5 receivers in the NFC West. On top of that, Matthew Stafford is an elite quarterback when he's healthy. So it's a very weird situation. But, like, I don't know. Like, I'd say the biggest threat is still San Francisco. But outside of that, like, there's not a confidence level with me on the other teams. And the Cardinals have the easiest schedule in the league going forward. The easiest.
100%.
So there's no way that with a division lead of 2-0, if we do pull this off against Seattle, that we shouldn't take the West. We'd be 3-0 and we'd have a win over everybody. So we would have the tiebreaker at the bare minimum. So that means if we are tied with any team, we have the 1-1. So we could be in a great spot here. We just have to get better than any other team in the division. And we're good because we have the tiebreaker if we can win this with every team.
I do believe I agree with what you say. I think the next 3 games are going to be crucial for the Cardinals. Like, are we going to be 1-1 versus Seattle, right? Like the Vikings game. I saw earlier in the chat somebody says, "Oh, they're only going to get impressed with the Cardinals if we beat the Vikings," which that's crazy to me because the Cardinals have actually beat teams that are in the AFC that are pushing for their own playoff run as well. So it's not like the Cardinals haven't beat anybody. Like
Oh
we've
yeah,
stood toe to toe with a lot of good teams, and guess what? We're 6-4 now. Yeah, it could have been better, of course, but I mean, it's not the way the NFL works. We're not an undefeated team like the Kansas City Chiefs used to be. Right, not anymore. Thank God, Bills, for giving them the first L. But what I'm saying is, like, this is just the NFL season, right? Who gets hot at the right time? I agree with you. I think that the biggest threat still is the 49ers, but looking at the 49ers and the way they play, there's so much excuses coming from that camp. When I saw Debo push that special teams guy, I don't
the
know.
long
There's
snapper.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness going on within that locker room that I feel like it's just going to implode on its own. Yes, there have injuries, but at the end of the day, the path is laid out for the Cardinals to take this. Now, obviously, we got to take advantage of that path and win games, but it is laid out. We got the easiest schedule. It starts off with Seattle, Vikings, and then Seattle again. If we can come out 2-1, I feel like we would be good.
That'd be a great spot. And let me tell you the 49ers' next opponents, because this is where it's difficult. Because even if they are the best team in the division with us, let's go ahead and read off their opponents right now. They have Green Bay, they have Buffalo, Chicago, the Rams, the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Cardinals. I
Yep.
just listed off at least 4 to 5 teams right there that are dogfight. Detroit, hopefully they're still playing meaningful football and are competing for the 1 seed because we need them to actually play their starters here. So there's 2 weeks left when they play them, but who knows? The Dolphins, I think, are better than the record shows. Without Tua, the offense was terrible. They were in a deep spot. I think with Tua, they win a lot of those games, but that's just me personally. I think Miami is a better team. They just don't want Tua taking shots, and in his second game back, he neck dove again. Crackhead Tua. But then you have the Packers, who just won off a game-winning field goal. Like, they're one of the best teams in the NFL. They dogged us. They could easily dog the 49ers this week. And then the Buffalo Bills. Like, that is
Oh
a
yeah.
tough schedule. They put themselves in such a hole right now that they needed to win in the front half, and they're 5-5. They messed this up. That's on them. That's not on us. We just have to capitalize going forward. The Rams, I believe, also have a very tough schedule, or they have an easy schedule, and Seattle has a tough one. It's one of the two, but
No, I think it's the
this,
Rams.
the Rams have the easy one.
No, the Rams have the
Yeah,
tough one. The Seattle has an easy.
that's fine with me because I
Yep.
believe in the Rams more than I believe in Seattle.
Yep.
So that is perfectly fine with me. We need Seattle to lose this game, and things will be looking good for us. If we can take a 3-0 division record with a record of 7-4, I think we're in such a good spot for the rest of the season. Like genuinely, if we win this next game,
Easy.
if we don't make the playoffs, that's on us. We folded. We folded. We fumbled the bag. That is 100% on us. The the path is there for us. This is probably the most gift wrapped playoff walk we have ever had. We just have to take care of what we have to take care of, handle business where we got to handle it, and things are looking good.
100%. No, I agree. You said it perfectly. Looking at the schedule, and I know people are always telling me because I at least made 2 or 3 videos about that same thing that you just mentioned. Their path, the 49ers path compared to the Cardinals or even compared to anybody else in the West, the Cardinals have the easiest path and obviously because we're in the number 1, I'm not really worried about Seattle too much, but you never know. But I don't know, man. I see the 49ers finishing 500, or I guess you can't finish 500 anymore because of the 17 games, but like I think they're just going to be floating around that area because of Buffalo, because of Green Bay in Lambeau, and then the Lions. It's a tough end to your season, and if it is the battle to 10 wins, Cardinals need 4, while everybody else needs 5. So let's see what happens here for the remaining of the 2024 season. Justin, I'm gonna let you go right here. I'm gonna ask you one last thing. One last thing. If there was one award that's going to be given to the Arizona Cardinals, and that's going to be Rookie of the Year, MVP with Kyler, or Coach of the Year, or any other thing you can go ahead and think of, what do you think that one award the Cardinals will be able to attain, or even comeback Player of the Year for maybe for Kyler, if that's even
Do you think
attainable?
Kyler wins comeback player of the year? Do you think he'll be in that?
I
I
don't
mean, I
know. I
think he
know he came
deserves
back
to, but I think that's
technically.
J.K. Dobbins. I
Yeah,
think
I know
J.K. Dobbins
technically
will
also.
take that.
Yeah, but what do you think that one award is going to be? Just throw something out there.
Man, I don't think defensive player of the year will go to Buda. They don't typically give that to safeties unless your name is Ed Reed. I don't even know if he won one. Um, I'd say the most obtainable is probably Coach of the Year,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just because Lamar and Josh Allen are having such unreal seasons right now that I just can't really see a world where they don't walk away with the award. I think it is Josh Allen's to lose right now.
Yeah.
Because Lamar, are they really going to give him 3 straight? I think people genuinely get annoyed with giving the same person the award. And Lamar got a kind of undeserving MVP last year, so will they give him another one? I'm not sure, but I think it's Josh Allen's MVP. Unfortunately, Kyler is balling. I mean, it could also change, but I think Coach of the Year. I really do, especially if we finished this last year strong. Flipping from what we did last year to going to number 4 pick to potential playoffs, got to give him credit where you got to give him credit, and I think that's the most obtainable. We win
I love
4
it.
games out of these last 7. Jonathan Gannon's got to be Coach of the Year.
All right. Well, Mythic, tell everybody how they can find you here. I appreciate you for jumping on. But go ahead and plug all your socials and wherever they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at It's Mythic AZ, on Twitter or X at I'm Mythic AZ. And if you guys want to see Cardinals content, I just posted my Seattle Seahawks preview. Check me out at Mythic Space AZ. Appreciate
Awesome.
you for having me on, man.
Of course, dude. Have a great rest of your day, man. Later.
Yes, sir. Peace.
All right, let's keep the train moving, ladies and gentlemen. Huge shout out here to Justin, aka Mythic AZ. If you don't know who he is, check him out. He is on YouTube. Search him out. Great content, and we need more Arizona Cardinals content creators. There's not very many out there, so definitely go and show some love on over there. Let's continue with the chat here. I saw somebody, Julio, Coach of the Year. I agree. I was going to mention the same thing. I think Coach of the Year is very attainable here for potentially Jonathan Gannon to win that, to be honest with you. MVP, I think he said it perfectly. I think Josh Allen, it's really hard to get away from that. Josh Allen just beat the undefeated or once undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, and this guy's playing out of his mind right now. So it's one of those things where although we all would love to say Kyler Murray is potentially going to win that MVP, I don't know. It's hard to take that away from Josh Allen, but man, oh man, oh man. What a time to be alive right now, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for the people that are just joining in right now and saw the title of this video saying, wait, what's happening, D-Rob? So, Jonathan Gannon spoke with the media earlier this morning, and he said that Darius Robinson is practicing today. So, here is a screenshot of, obviously, Arizona Sports with the videos that they posted here about what he's done so far here on the Monday morning, the day after the end of week 11, or I guess technically today is the end of week 11, but still, right? We're getting ready for Seattle. We got a game in 6 days now. So D-Rob is in the building. He is practicing. It's trending in the right direction. I feel like it took longer because of the re-aggravation of his calf injury, and on top of that, his mother, right? A lot of different things that ended up having to happen in order for us to get him back in the building, but definitely seems to be trending in the right direction. Hallelujah. Darius Robinson is back in the building and practicing. Love to see it. We got Highness in the chat, says, you think he beats out Sean Payton? What Sean Payton is doing right now with the rookie quarterback, it is pretty amazing. It really is. Of course, I'm going to give it to my head coach if Sean Payton does win. I'm not mad at it, right? There's a lot of coaches that are deserving of that award. Of course, I want it to be my team. In order for that to happen, we need to keep this train going, right? We need to keep this train going. Now, I did end up asking who's the biggest threat in the NFC West right now. And then I think me and Mythic both agree that it is the San Francisco 49ers still. But I saw something here in the chat that I really wanted to kind of highlight here. And of course, I can't find it now. But the chat said, our biggest threat, here it is, House of Cards. Biggest threat is ourselves right now. Man, oh man. That's the truth. That's the truth. Biggest threat right now is ourselves. Can we finish the job? Because right now, I have multiple videos already talking about this on my channel, live stream or even on the regular video platforms. I end up already telling you guys the schedule for the 49ers compared to the Cardinals have it easier, right? In terms of the teams that we're playing. And even if you compare it to the Rams, the Rams have a tougher schedule than the Cardinals. The Seahawks, can they win? Yes, they can. I'm not trying to be a jerk or dismissive of them. I just don't believe in them too much, right? I just don't believe in them. So right now, to me, I still do think the biggest threat team-wise is the 49ers. But their schedule's so tough, they might finish around 500-ish, or as close as you potentially can get, right? Either 8-9 or 9-8. And I do think that you need 10 wins at least to win this division this year. At least 10 wins to win this division. In this next three games, the Cardinals need to go at least 2-1. That's the Seahawks, Seahawks, the Vikings, and the Seahawks again. You got to. You got to go at least 2-1. 3-0 would be ideal, of course, right? Everybody will take a 3-0. But you got to at least go 2-1. You have to. No more ifs, ands, or buts about it. Jonathan Gannon says the locker room is locked in. They've had conversations amongst each other. Him as a coach, players as players, texting amongst each other, obviously letting everybody know what's going on, right? Everybody's still involved in football. They're locked in still. They're locked in. So, here we go. Jameson says, I kind of think we're underestimating the Seahawks. That might be the truth. Maybe, right? By underestimating the Seahawks, do you mean the fan base is underestimating, or you're saying this team, the Cardinals team? I don't think this Cardinals team is underestimating the Seahawks. I don't think they are. No, I don't think that. The fan base, maybe, right? I'll give you that. I don't think this Cardinals organization is underestimating anybody, to be honest with you. Honestly, I'm glad that the Seahawks won. Because it did a couple things for us as the Cardinal fan base, right? The Seahawks winning means, A, you give a loss to the San Francisco 49ers, which most people can say that's probably the biggest threat for the Cardinals this year, right? The Seahawks winning gives you that. You give them an L. And on top of that, they put them at 5-5. That means you have two competitive teams in the NFC West that the Cardinals aren't going to lay down for and say, oh, this team is only 4 wins. They're not going to do anything, right? They're not going to overlook a team that's literally sitting at 500 while you're at 6-4, right? So this win for the Seahawks gave this game much more meaning. It did. There's no room for error. There's no more room for error here. And I think the Cardinals organization knows that. You got to win this game. If you don't win this game, then you're sitting at 6-5. And guess what? Seahawks are sitting at 6-5. And whatever happens to the other two teams, let them decide what happens there. But this win for the Seahawks just gives us more oomph. It gives us more, we got to fight. Can't lay down. Can't let it happen. We're going to Seattle. Take care of business. Let James Conner run the ball, tote the rock, and then let Kyler Murray throw the ball in the air. I believe they're locked in. I really, really do. I believe this Arizona Cardinals team is absolutely locked in. Jonathan Gannon says it, and I believe it. Brian in the chat says our team is... I agree. I agree. Can we be underestimating the Seahawks? Yeah, we can be. And I'm talking about the fan base, right? We can be. I don't think this team is. Brian says, if everyone does their job and work as a team, we're unstoppable. If we execute on all the explosive plays, right? The ball's down the field. If we execute in the run game, if we execute in maybe allowing a turnover or two, right? Because Geno Smith does have a lot of interceptions this year. Geno Smith is one of the top guys that is toting that rock, throwing the ball in the air, receiving yards. He's one of the top guys. But he's also a lot of interceptions in. So that means we can cause a turnover or two. Got to be able to win the turnover battle, play clean football, and take care of business. So, there's that. I'm excited. You never know what's going to happen in division games. That's the crazy thing. You never know what's going to happen in division games. But guess what? The Jets had a huge win, right? The Jets had a huge win the week before we played them. They just beat the Houston Texans, right? Cardinals didn't bat an eye. They went in there, took care of business. I feel the same way here for versus the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think they're going to bat an eye on this one. I really don't. not saying they're going to win. I'm not throwing that promise out there, but I do believe that they're going to go out there, be locked in, and do everything they possibly can to get this win. It's a crucial game. It means you're either going to be 7-4 or 6-5, which if that happens, the NFC West isn't lost, but it just means that we can't gloat about being on the top for another week. That's all I'm saying. What's up, Michael? Michael in the chat says, where to go? Division games are always tough, even more so with the NFC West. Absolutely. Seattle winning is big for us. They did us a favor, but it also opened our eyes. We'll see. We'll see what happens. For the new people that are just joining in, earlier we talked about Darius Robinson potentially making his return. I know we talked about that a lot, ladies and gentlemen, about Darius Robinson. Is he coming back? Is he not coming back? So far, we know he's in the 53, and he's practicing today. So, let's see what happens here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me give a huge shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. It's going to be none other than BetUS. If you're looking for a brand new sports book, BetUS is the way to go. Currently, right now, if you use promo code YouTube150, they will provide you with a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on the following two. That's going to be using promo code YouTube150. Of course, bet responsibly and bet within your means. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be closing up shop here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, as always. If you guys haven't already smacked the like button, do me that huge favor. Smack up the like button. Subscribe to the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. We try to go live every single day here, Monday through Friday at 12 noon AZ time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.